Hello, and welcome to issue 678 of Geek in the City Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron Duran. Still getting used to that.
I'm one of your other hosts, Spinarita.
And I am your other host, Cable Hashitami.
That's right. My voice is my password. Verified.
Yes. Which apparently means something to you and not to...
It's from the movie Sneakers.
I've never seen Sneakers.
Oh, man. I think you would legit enjoy Sneakers.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd, Robert Redford. Is River Phoenix in it?
Yep, Sidney Poitier.
Sidney Poitier.
Mm.
Sidney Poitier.
What's his name? Donnell Logue has a small part in it.
Oh, well, why did you bury the lead?
He's not in it very much.
It doesn't matter.
There is no Mrs. Janik. It's good. It's really good. It's probably also... I've known a few people that have worked, cybersecurity, and they're like, Sneakers is the one movie that gets it right, especially for the era. It's mid '90s, I think. Well, River Phoenix was still alive.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
What's his name? I went blank. Never mind. It's really good. I think you'll like it a lot.
All right.
I'll
have to give it a watch. I'll add it to the list of things that I'm still need to catch up on.
I'm going to maybe watch that this weekend. It's legit fun.
How do you keep track of the things that you want to watch at some point? Just have like Post-it notes everywhere? Do you have like a Google Doc? What do you do?
I usually start some system for it and then abandon it within 2 weeks once something else shiny has caught my attention. And then I eventually uncover it again 6 months later and go, oh yeah, that's a thing.
Okay. I was hoping for an answer that was not identical to what I already do, but thanks.
No, every system that I have ever come up with to try to remember to do things is foiled by my own habits, and I have just resorted to remembering it, and it's stuck in my brain somewhere.
Rude. So rude, Cable.
Problem is, I have used up too much memory space for nothing but random stuff that I forget to be able to do things like I just did a moment ago, talk.
Well, who needs to know how to do that?
I don't know, podcasters?
I mean,
sure.
Maybe, possibly.
Jen uses a service called Letterbox. I know a lot of people who
Christian uses it, but I thought that was just for cataloging and like rating what you have seen, like the beer one that we use.
You can also do things that like Merrick has put it together. And I downloaded it, but I haven't really delved into it.
Yeah,
but you can also do things. It's like I want to watch.
Yeah. So
right, cool. I have been thinking about Letterboxd anyway, not from any strong desire to catalog what I watched or want to watch, which I didn't realize was a feature, but just because apparently that's how I need to go through life at this point, is I need to just have some sort of device that is tracking my activities for me. Well, we've talked about this with the whole calendar / Google Maps timeline.
I mean, you have a phone that does that.
Right. And I rely heavily on those apps in my phone to tell me what I'm doing, what I did with life, however many days or months ago.
Right.
I just meant your phone is tracking you.
Yeah.
I know, and I should hate it, but
I don't get how you do journaling, because that not only does it not organize me, it stresses me out.
Bullet journaling?
Any kind of that. Any kind.
I just wanted to clarify because I don't journal.
Right.
Fuck my feelings. What it is the setting up the spreads, like how I'm gonna lay out this month or whatever. That's there's a catharsis to that I really get a kick out of. But then the act of writing out, like, this is my schedule this week, these are the appointments I have, and this is like a little task of things, a list of tasks that I want to do this week, helps me retain the information.
But what if you forget to plot out a month?
Then
and the month has started.
Well, I do still use my Google Calendar, and I put things on my calendar as they get scheduled, unless I forget or my hands are full, whatever, right? If I can't write it down right. So everything goes into my Google Calendar immediately, or I run the risk of forgetting I was supposed to do it in the first place. Um, and then the bullet journaling is how I essentially review what's in the Google Calendar.
Right.
It'll also be good for things like whose birthday is coming up, which I'm shit at. So and that's the thing that's like really frustrating about like systems is like, oh, this tool is gonna like help me with everything. No, you're good at one thing, you're good at another, and this one's handy for this other element of keeping track of my life. And then it's too many apps and too many reminders, and it all becomes white noise, and then none of it gets done or remembered.
That's largely why I can't rely on using any of those applications or calendars or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because I have the additional obstacle of this is a thing I have to learn to use. It's like I can pull out a pad of paper and write shit down and just keep track of that pad of paper.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely.
We have a large memo pad that sits on our kitchen island.
Mm-hmm.
That when I'm home on the weekends or my weekends, I will write out my to-do lists there and then cross it off as I finish thing, and then I'm done. For work, I carry around a couple notebooks. They're small notebooks that I tried to use as bullet journals at the beginning of last year. Beginning of 2021, not the beginning of last year. It's 2023. And that didn't work. Because I'm like, well, this is not quite giving me what I want. But I carry them around because as soon as someone says something, I'm like, cool. I write it down, throw it back in there. And then I just go through and flip through the pages, and things that I've done, I cross out, and things that I haven't done, I'm like, nope, fuck, I need to go do that.
That's what I started doing. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you remember last year, Bean, I tried really hard to do like a calendar and a journal thing, and I got to about March.
I don't remember that. I don't think
it.
we talked about it.
No, I showed it to you. You're like, this looks cool.
Okay, I believe you.
But I got to like March, and I began to stress myself out.
Yeah.
Of like, I know I have things here, but then I forgot to add them, and now it's the day of. What's the point of adding it? And then I just spiraled out, and I never used it again. I ordered a specially built one.
That's the problem. I have always had this problem, and I think now, like a lot of people with ADHD have this experience, is that like none of the planners that exist work the way you want them to. They don't have the features and the elements that work for your brain. And so no matter how many different ones you buy or try, it never really works for you. And that's why the bullet journal is supposed to be such a wonderful catch-all, because it can be as big and granular and detailed, or as basic and, like just the necessities, whatever you want. I've had that problem for years. That Japanese, the Hobonichi that I used for 3 years in a row, that's the first time I've ever had a planner that could meet all of my almost all of my needs.
Right.
But there's space in there to kind of accommodate for the stuff that it doesn't already have.
I think I'm a hybrid of you and Cable, because right now every day I wake up and either the night before or that morning, I write my to-do list, like literally on a notepad that I then stick on the fridge with a magnet. And it starts with easy shit of like, wake up, have water, because that gives me that little, dopamine hit when I cross things off.
Of an accomplished thing.
But other than that, I carry like a relatively durable and kind of weatherproof field notebook, just at all times. That's like, it's not the grid, it's the dots. It's not line, it's not grid. So I can make lists. I can sketch something out. I can do whatever I want. And I just bring that everywhere like a crazy person. By the end of the year, I look like Columbo because I have like 4 of them and like one more thing.
That's a bullet journal. But
I don't plan it out.
You don't have to.
I'm always
technically speaking, when Ryder Carroll rolled out this concept to the public, that's all it really needs to be. Blank page, you write down whatever you need for that day, check it off as you go, and and if you don't get it all done the next day, it migrates to the new list for the next day. It's what I do is a much more complicated, time-consuming, artsy-fartsy
Yeah.
thing, but that's because that extra level of, decorative colored pens, whatever, brings me joy. Also, I have to have color coding.
I do have color post-its for when I'm writing. Like characters are green, action sequences are pink. Like everything has a different color code. And then I look like Charlie Day with like that's how I plot. And I will rearrange scenes that way.
And that's mind
Kind
mapping.
of like a writer's room.
But you do it on paper.
It is why I try to carry notebooks. I carry a notebook in my everyday life, but I don't get into it as often. But that this was to combat the fact that I would go through post-it notes and I would just post-it note everything.
Yeah.
I found a post-it note from 2 years ago the other day, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, the same thing for me. I had to switch to
2 years ago. That's adorable.
Although I got for Christmas,
well, I don't use post-it notes a lot. So
for Christmas, I didn't know they made these. I got black post-it notes.
I need some of those because this year I went back to bullet journaling. I'm still sort of setting it up right now, and I used black paper notebook. It's so beautiful.
I folks who know me know that I have multiple like metallic Sharpies, and I can't wait to write notes.
Yeah,
silver Sharpie, and
I ordered a big old pack of Jelly Roll Moonlight pens. They're all designed for black paper. I mean, they work on any color paper, but
you got to show me the link.
As soon as I'll send you the link.
Jelly Roll are one of my favorites.
Oh my god!
Apart from the Highlight 800, it's a very specific pen. Has a rubber grippy thing. Has the perfect clip if you need to clip it. It's the perfect pen.
And we've never discussed this
in terms of like what you can buy off the shelf. Because I'm never gonna buy like a fancy ass pen because I'm guaranteed to lose it.
No,
like, it starts with an M. I would say Moab, but that's a desert, isn't it?
The Mojave?
No.
The Moab is also
Moab. Okay.
Moab.
Yeah, no, I can't do fancy pens. I lose pens all the time. They only come in 2 or 3 colors max.
Yeah. Like I think Jen was given one when she graduated college by her dad. Like now, like sign adult things with this adult pen. Like it was a big Norm Mont Blanc. Thank you.
Oh,
also,
yeah.
hi chat.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna log into. I normally log into Twitch from my phone, and so I can participate. But I'm just gonna talk directly at people today.
That's fine.
I don't.
I think Jen has a Mont Blanc.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wow, those are expensive pens.
Yes. Oh yeah. And they have a range of them. Like there are Mont Blancs you can buy in Office Depot that are they're still up there. And then like there used to be a store
like Henkel's. Like you can get Henkel's at Target. They're not the same, but they're still Henkel's.
Yeah, and like there used to be a store at Pioneer Square, the Pioneer Mall, that all they sold were like,
rice.
No.
All they sold in the store were like accoutrements for the professional lady and gentleman. So it was like all they sold were like watches, cufflinks, those little tabs you put on your collars,
collar pins, collar stays.
Yeah, they're like triangles, collar stays. Very specific fucking shoehorns.
Yep.
And then pens. Yep. And that's all they like
the yuppie store.
And decanter
it's
sets.
not exact. It's not a haberdashery, but it is a
no.
There is a word for it. I just can't.
There isn't. Portland does have a very nice haberdashery still.
Yeah.
Downtown.
Yep.
I do enjoy a good haberdashery.
John Helmer.
Yeah.
This is not an ad for John Helmer.
No, but if John Helmer would like to sponsor it, I will dress up every week if you want to provide. In fact, the first year we'll just do it for swag.
I will channel my inner Paul F. Tompkins.
Yeah. I will be bespoked everywhere.
There's a word that you used.
Henkel.
What the hell is a Henkel?
It's a brand of knives, and that I don't know if there's people still get excited about it, but everyone was always like, "Oh, Henkel this, Henkel that." But you can get them at like any big box store. The difference is they're a different quality. I think you're supposed to like, and they've got this little man, like a little almost like a meeple design that is part of the brand logo. And I think it was determined at one point that like however many little dudes are on your knife is like the quality indicator, because they're supposed to be like hundreds of dollars or whatever.
Yeah.
But you can buy a set at Target or Walmart or whatever for $50.
So the kids could, yeah. So Henkel is still out there, but they're more like the celebrity. Like if you watch Hell's Kitchen, they
Mhm.
all get a set of Henkel knives.
Mm.
The two that have kind of taken over in popularity are Wusthof, the German ones,
Mm.
and Shun, the Japanese knives. I have a cleaver that is Wusthof. My main butcher knife is a Shun.
Mm.
The Shuns are almost always Damascus also.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've never had a really, really nice knife, but I've had the
It's
same.
amazing.
I've had the same pure Komachi chef's knife for like 10 years, and it's still great. And it was $8.
Oh, I even got during the pandemic like the oiled canvas roller
Oh,
that I can
fancy.
wear. Yeah. Sometimes when I'm cooking for friends and stuff, and they come over and I'm still in the process, I'll just wear it around my back because I like how it feels.
Mhm.
And a good like fish filleting knife that bends really well. Got to get one of those.
I don't have a fillet knife.
You can get by with just a butcher knife, a fillet knife, and a cleaver.
I was trained that you only need 3 knives: a chef's knife,
Mhm.
a paring knife, and probably a boning knife, like a fish bone, filleting / boning knife.
Cleavers come in handy if you work with a lot of bones that requires like chunk.
Oh, also like one serrated. You have to have one serrated knife.
The bread knife.
For bread.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, what are we actually supposed to talk about tonight?
Well, I think we're doing our annual gift exchange that we always do like the week after Christmas
Mm-hmm. Or 2 weeks after Christmas.
or 2 weeks after Christmas. And then I've got like stuff I enjoyed in 2022 list. You guys can
Oh,
bounce
me
off.
too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can bounce off mine. And then I think that's it. This is also the dead time for pop culture too.
Yeah.
There's a reason why theaters, movie studios release bomb movies they know they're going to tank in January. Babylon.
To make sure that they're right.
Yes. Self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's when they know that like a movie's not going to do well.
Mm.
So the best way to avoid negative press about how badly your movie does is you release it when no one's really paying attention.
Mm.
Like January is the opposite of December. November, December is Oscar time.
Mm-hmm.
You sneak them in.
Mm-hmm.
January, February is when movies go to die for the most part. Although that's different now. Quantum Mania is coming out like the middle of February.
Mm-hmm.
And Avatar is just going to keep chugging right along.
Whatever. I don't know. I might watch it eventually, but I don't actively care.
I feel like if I'm going to see it, I'm going to see it in the biggest screen in 3D because it's like from a technical side, everyone I've heard are like, I don't like the movie, but like it is mind blowing to watch it.
Well, I mean, that's how I felt about the first one. And I'm sure the technology has only,
Well, I mean, that's part of it. Cameron gets ideas for new technology and he's like, all right, I feel like by now people should quit betting against Cameron to have a box office bomb. Like it's just not going to fucking happen.
I don't think I think that at all. I didn't think that this movie was going to do poorly. I'm in the same camp as Denise, where I don't care.
Well, that's the weird thing. Everyone I have ever spoken to, they're like, yeah, maybe I'll watch it eventually. To where like, is that the whole world? Well, no, clearly not.
No.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the whole world.
Also, Avatar is one of those movies that in parts of like Asia, it was on the screen for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Like it was an event.
When the first one came out, I lived in like Lakewood, Tacoma, and I drove to a theater in Lacey, Olympia, because I wanted to see it opening night. And afterwards, I was like, holy shit, my eyeballs, mind blown on a visual and like technology standpoint. I remember there were people who like became depressed. There were reports that people were allegedly depressed after seeing Avatar because the real world couldn't compare anymore. And I'm like, I don't believe it, but I would be willing to believe that people are just like disappointed in this world. It also came out in winter. I remember it was gray and rainy and
I've also met people. They're dumb.
also that.
Yeah, I mean, they figured out how to do motion capture underwater. Like that's not easy, And Cameron's also one of those people, again, like he just likes to push for new technology.
Mm-hmm.
Half the time he does these things that lets him go on more expeditions later, that are Like his documentaries they're fucking gorgeous.
Yep.
He's a nightmare from all intents and purposes because he's he's a perfectionist. It's never right for him.
I will probably see the movie itself at some point. I know Merrick is already planning. She wants to go see it in the theater. She's like, I don't think she cares that much about Avatar itself. It's like, it's going to be a spectacle. I want to watch that.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of how I am. In fact, there's a movie on my list that was the specific reason why I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't many films I feel like that must be seen in the theater. I feel like both Avatars are one of them. Remember the movie Gravity with Sandra Bullock?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That was the theatrical experience. I saw it again at home.
Yes, it was.
It was still good, but that seeing it on the biggest screen possible, I was like, "Oh, my space is fucking terrifying!"
Mm-hmm.
Like, wonderful.
Yeah, I just saw that at the Roseway.
That's when I saw it
R.I.P.
too.
to a real one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were we there at the same time? I feel like.
No, I don't think we did.
Okay.
Well, maybe
Were
we
you
did.
with Angel?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't remember. Like, I have forgotten more of the things that we have done together than I remember it.
This was 2013, so
Yeah.
Wow,
By the way, the
this was kinda
soundtrack
weird.
is
That was 10 years ago, baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
10.
Yep.
10
10
years.
It doesn't. It
10.
doesn't feel like it was that long
10
ago.
Years.
Norm
There's another
says,
dated reference.
I want to watch Into the Spider-Verse in the theater. Yeah, I want to see that in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the first one at home. I'm glad I saw it, but I was like, man, that would have been good in the theater.
It would have been.
And Norm brings up, not Norm, that's Kevin. Brings up the comment of the communal experience of seeing things in theater. That's always part of it too, right?
Yeah, I wish I had been. I've talked about this before. I made the mistake of seeing Avengers Endgame in one of those D-box theaters, and they don't actually move a whole lot until the final fight. But I wish I'd been one of those theaters that were packed, like the first time Rogers picks up the hammer and the Avengers assemble.
Yep.
To be in that, I will still watch those videos of the theaters losing their mind, being like, "Ah, damn."
Like, we didn't have that crazy of an audience, but we did. Like, we had a reactive audience. We went and saw that at the living room theater.
Oh, okay.
So it was a smaller crowd, but everyone was still like, "Yeah."
I think I was like one of 3 people in that D-box theater because they're expensive tickets too.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, that was a mistake. I'm not saying I wouldn't. Actually, I don't know if I'd ever see one in that Clackamas D-box Century Theater because I think it's going to be like the 4DX theaters that are like in LA and New York, and they're not. They're very uncomfortable. The seats aren't comfortable. They don't do the extra filming, for stuff on the sides. And
the one and only movie that I've seen there was Star Trek Beyond, and it was worth it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Because, man, that chair banked a lot.
Yeah.
Because there was motion all the goddamn time. There was that was 70% chair motion.
Sure, I can see that for sure.
Like all the ship stuff, all the running, the motorcycle ride, the fight scenes, all of it. It's like, oh yeah, this was perfect for this.
I think the last one I saw there was with Becca. We saw, I think, the last, not the reboot, but the last Mila Jovovich Resident Evil movie. And we made jokes that it was enjoyable on multiple levels. We both love those movies. And the chair just did a lot of vibrating. Not a lot of swaying, just a lot of fucking vibrating. So don't be gross, Denise. You know what we meant. You're talking about something else. It massaged.
Okay.
Loosened up muscles.
Yeah, moving on.
Not helping your case.
No, you would have been better off just keeping your mouth shut. Let's open some presents.
Okay.
Just keep my mouth shut.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that.
All right.
I'm going to mute myself because I want to eat some of these salty peanuts.
Okay. Well, then, Cable, you go first.
Do you want me to open yours or Aaron's?
Whichever one you want to open. Eeny meeny.
This one's closer.
All right. Don't forget, that's just a stocking stuffer. That doesn't count.
This is just a stocking. stuffer. We don't have. Okay, it's
I know. You know what? I did stocking stuffers for so many people this year. Nobody has fucking stockings.
So
It's
I'd like
I've
to-
missed the boat on stockings.
I want
I have
people
a
to
stocking.
see
All right, we'll
how
put it in your stocking.
lovely wrap this is. There's a real ribbon on it. It's velvety. Little black tag with my name on it.
This is also why I still have like at least 2 more gifts to wrap.
These are unicorns. I'm just now noticing there are unicorns on it.
I also ran out of all of the Christmas intended gift wrap. So some of the gifts are not Christmas
what?
gift
It
wrapped.
can be whatever you want them to be. That's fine.
Excellent. I'm glad I'm not the only one who wears bows.
Is that not what you're supposed to do with them? Isn't that
Seems like most people don't, and I think that's sad.
those people are
God, I forgot. Sorry. I got a notification on Nextdoor. Not that I ever read it, but when I registered, I made my username Peterman. So, because Nextdoor email is always open with like, "Hey," and then your name. So I was like, "Hey, Peterman, what's
Okay.
happening next door?" In my head, I'm like, I think I'll just check.
Ooh,
Ooh.
fancy.
Man,
There, internet.
those are nice headphones.
Those are nice headphones.
Well, I know when I started, somebody turned me on to the value of good headphones.
Yes.
And
Good lids,
yeah,
as they say in the business.
lids, not
Yeah.
cans.
Cans.
Cans, not lids.
I was like, I've only ever
Lids are hats.
yes.
Yes. This is dope.
Yeah.
They're nice. Yeah,
Thank you.
that's a good one.
That means I'm going to be using new headphones.
Yay.
Well, I want to open my stocking now because I put my stocking away.
I was just kidding.
Oh,
Open
okay.
it whenever you want. You're not going to put it in your stocking. You're going to open it tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now. Ooh, that's a thick tape on here.
It's a small box.
Yeah, it's hard to get to any of the seams now. I'm like,
I just wanted to torture you with that one.
Oh, nah.
No, it's just such a tiny box.
Oh. And then there's more. It's with tissues.
The box of tissue. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. The imposter therapy oil.
The label is so tiny. It's imposter syndrome. So,
I don't see the syndrome.
because the bottle's so tiny.
Oh.
It's from Covenless Botanicals.
Thank you.
They have an array of different oil blends for different things, like creative juices. There's always like one for like libido booster, and this one is to help with your imposter syndrome, I
I
guess.
felt it was meant to combat it because the last thing I need is something that gives me more. Imposter
You know what I mean? Help
I know,
you
that's what
with
I
that
meant.
issue,
That's what I'm
not
saying.
help the
know.
syndrome. Help
Oh
you.
my God, we're actually agreeing, so quit fighting.
You should open something now.
Okay. I'll open this one because it's on top here.
Yeah, that's from me.
Mhm.
I like tags. I think I just tied the string on there, so you may have to just shank it.
Nice cans. Sounds like an NPR podcast about canned food.
That was very wholesome.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not where I would have gone with that.
I read the wholesome one aloud. I didn't read
Ha
Yeah, I do believe there were.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
The language of houseplants. Check that out, friends.
I feel like you would enjoy that one.
Yes. Yeah. One of my many new post-COVID during COVID obsessions
Yeah, no, it's.
is houseplants and keeping them alive for a fucking change.
But now you can find out all the different meanings and all the fun stuff with them.
Oh, does this have correspondences and stuff too?
I'm not sure. I just kind of flipped through it and read the back of it, and I was like, I think Bean would like this.
Oh, Flaming Katie. I just got one of those.
Hear that, Norm? She's got a flaming Katie.
Jade. Okay, cool. This is lovely.
Thanks.
Ooh, English Ivy. All right. I'm going to put this down now. And
I always got to be careful with certain books because I feel like, especially with our group, we'll just buy a book because it makes me look cool and not say anything. Like last year, I got Eda a book that she had like 6 months before. She's like, thanks, I already have this book. I'm like, "Oh."
I actually don't buy myself that many books. So you're always safe on
Oh,
that with me anyway. Yeah, I check stuff out of the library a lot.
Oh, okay.
And especially like reference books
Mhm.
are one of the ones where I would rather have it in physical form versus like or audio.
Right.
But I never buy them, so I'm just always without.
Yay!
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who's next?
One of you guys, both of you guys.
You should open a proper, like you open the little thing. You should open a
Okay,
bigger thing.
I'll get one.
That's true. That doesn't count.
This is cable. Yeah.
Oh God.
Is that one fragile?
Yes, it is.
Well,
Oh,
let's
no.
hopefully it didn't
No,
fall
it's-
very full.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
I'm just scoring like all the points with Denise.
I
today.
know, right? I think you're just taking advantage of the fact that I'm your best friend, and you know. What am I really gonna do about it?
Man, you do like this thick paper. It's almost like leather armor.
Mhm.
It's fun. Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
Yay! Oh wow, that's a
Dragonlance.
bitchin' cover on
Yeah,
that guy.
Lord Soth.
It seemed to safe bet.
Yes. Oh, sorry, listeners. Thank you so much. Yeah, I've been going back and forth on this,
Mhm.
but like I've always loved the setting. And from what I've heard, like his updated stats, the new Lord Soth is terrifying.
Interesting.
Like he's a campaign ender now.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, that he's
Wow.
not to be fucked with. Thank you so much. This is awesome.
You're welcome.
Look, yeah.
It's back to me. I'm going to open the stocking stuffer interim. Take. Stocking.
I mean, the cute little puppy on
Always
there.
good.
Bear?
I
Puppy
love
bear?
these little jars.
This is- I know. I was like, this looks like a jar you keep. That's
It
super
is.
cute.
Yeah, you pop the top, drink the sake, keep the jar,
Free cup.
free cup. All right.
Kind
Next
of
present.
like the mole cups.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Wow, that took me back.
Mm-hmm. You can still get them.
This is from Anne.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Ooh.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
I
they're
didn't know
like
that was a thing.
mass. I didn't know it was either. And I was talking to folks at the Lego store, and they're like, a lot of these minifigs come with accessories that only come in these special packs. They're like, the minifigs might show up, but
Mhm.
not certain accessories. I'm like, oh,
So this is pretty cool.
that
So
one's super cool.
These are like rebel soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
This has actually been on my own. So this is dumb. I'm sorry, Lego company. This is dumb. You can create Lego wish lists. You can create wish lists
Oh, really?
on Lego.com.
That seems smart.
Dear
It is.
Lego.
You know what you can't do with those wish lists?
Share it.
Share them.
Boo.
There
Yeah,
is no way
figure
to
it out,
actually
Lego.
do that. I asked customer service. They're like, "Yeah, it's a child safety thing. That's why we don't." I'm like, "Okay, I get that, but also this is really dumb." They're like, "Yeah, we know."
Wait, why?
How is that a child?
I forget the full reason. I'll pull
Only thing
up
I
the
can
email.
think of is if
But
some
this-
creepy adult
Yeah,
has a kid's email. It's like, send me your wish list, child.
Mm.
but this is one of the ones I had because it has Thor and Valkyrie and Korg and their
Oh,
little
wow.
bug friend
Yeah, Meek, right?
Meek.
The Meek minifig is very weird.
Yeah, Meek.
I wanna see
So well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I thought that Star Wars one was super cool.
Yeah, it is. These are
I've
dope.
never seen these before. That's very cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, they usually don't sell them retail. They sell them at the Lego stores or just through the website.
Oh, my mom got me the Galaxy Explorer. Yeah. And I recorded like a 5-minute. Jen recorded me like explaining why this set was so cool and what it meant. And I didn't know she was recording me and sent it to my mom. My mom's like, that's the prettiest thing I've seen all year.
Nice.
Do I have to open them in an order?
If there was a preferred order, I forget which one went into which package. So eeny meeny.
No. All right. This is the big red bag.
I ran out of paper.
It's like the big red dog,
Mhm.
but only paper.
Oh, these guys are really on here.
Yeah, they're twine.
Sorry, I
You
chose
might
it.
just have to rip it.
I did. Rip it and rip it.
Rip it good.
Ooh, styrofoam.
That's it for the bag.
Okay, I wanted to make sure.
How
Because I've
is
done
it
that before.
Fucking possible. How?
I know.
How is it?
What are you looking at? The Lego wish list?
Someone's kids.
They're huge.
Yeah. How?
I know.
What?
That's awesome.
That is so good. I'm going to put it with my tiny little ships. My Dr. Crusher. Or I'll find like a sexy Scottish candle.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Post
I was
next to
hoping
it.
that's where you were gonna go.
You'll never guess what the second one is.
It better be Ronin. No. These are cool. Thanks. Sorry, I keep muting, although you're probably glad. I'm getting this like sparkle hops, so it's like it's not alcoholic and it's got hops, but they
fizzy.
carbonate the shit out of these things.
Cool.
Where did you find these?
Mhm.
I'm not telling.
The bitch has her ways.
Got it on eBay. do.
Ooh, which Picard is it?
That's shirtless.
Oh my god, please have that on a plate.
I don't think it is, but
Oh man, you're taking me back to like my late junior high, early high school days. That's so cool.
I was like, maybe this is cheesy, but I really wanted you to have them.
No, I love them. Thank
you
you.
realize he's going to obsessively try to complete the collection now, right?
I had a
I have
few
an
of them.
answer for that, but I don't want to say what it is right now.
It's just 13 payments every 2 weeks of $13.99.
Cancel anytime.
That's
From the
right.
Franklin Mint.
Thank you so much. Oh,
Yay.
By Keith Birdsong. That's a fake name. 23 karat gold, 1 carat latinum.
Norm says, shirtless Picard is a mood. A sexy Earl Grey mood.
That's true.
That was redundant, Norm. Earl Grey is always sexy.
I just ordered some Earl Grey tea, a blend of it from the Hawthorne Witches place in Newport, Oregon.
Ooh.
But theirs is called like Necromancer's tea. As other stuff.
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. Oh yeah, this stuff is hardcore.
Oh yeah, no, cable doesn't. Oh yes.
With the child-proof wrapping paper departments.
We got to wrap in lead line paper for Superman.
Wow, look at this cover. American brujeria.
Ooh, witches.
Modern Mexican American folk magic.
So I went
This is
to
bitchin'. Speaking of metal covers.
yeah, I went to
Right
Queen
there.
Meb.
I love that store.
I've never been. You follow them on Instagram. You follow them on Instagram. Merrick follows them on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I started following them on Instagram. A book came up, and I went, "Oh, that's what I should do." And that is not the book that I went in. Like I went in for a specific
Which
book.
one did you go in for?
I forget what it is because I saw it and I looked through it. I'm like, no. And then I looked up and I saw that book and I saw another book that I'm like, and I flipped through that and I'm like, that's Denise. And I flipped through the other book and went, yep, that one's Merrick.
Nice. Yeah, that is that's my favorite
It's very
esoteric
well-
shop.
Very well curated.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's small selection, but like half that shit is homemade, handmade
Mhm.
by the shop.
Like in the back.
all the
her
all the
candles.
pottery, almost all the candles. She does get some in from other vendors, but a lot of the stuff
I think
she
all of
makes
her
herself.
incense she makes
Yep.
herself.
Mhm.
And she runs online courses.
Yep.
Yeah, a couple
Lot.
years ago, Erin gave me the incense making online course
Cool.
from that
Yeah,
shop.
she
So
works on called the House of Twigs or Thought.
There's also Kevin Craft rituals.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I think probably because of all the different things that she does, she probably has to have a lot of different LLCs and whatnot. Yeah, people cannot go wrong picking something up at Queen Mab.
Yeah.
What
she's a good
amuses
spot.
me the most is when the book that I got from Merrick was Hecate. And it's like I looked through it and I'm like, nope, I don't know anything about this. My gut says get this book. And when I gave it to her, she's like, this is great. She's like, this is what I was looking for. I'm like, yeah, I looked at other books. She's like, did you look at other books? And they all went, if you're getting into this, I'm like, yeah, they kind of had that vibe. And this didn't have that vibe, did it? I'm like, no. This is like, you already know what you're doing. Here's more.
Oh, nice.
The woman who runs Queen Mob will often do that for me. She's like, I got some new books in. She's like, those two are neat. She's like, but you don't need them. She's like, from how I know you. Like there was one about like,
Oh shit! I didn't realize she
witchcraft and
knows
cooking.
you. I should have thought about that.
That's fine. But she got in one about like a kitchen witchery one, and then one that was basically like, she said like, you don't need this one. She's like, just from the way I talk to you and what I see you post on Instagram, she's like, just get the one that just basically has the information. She's like, you don't need an introduction. I'm like, yeah, it's true.
Yep. Yeah, but Merrick's other comment was like, am I the only person that hasn't been to this store yet? Damn
Maybe.
it. Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm curious about the one out in Hillsborough.
Ooh,
now.
there's a chapter on Limpias.
Yeah, I've read that book.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Ida has too.
Oils.
So yeah, I just picked up one just called The Mexican Witch. It's pretty fun.
It's so funny. Just the other day, a friend of mine who lives very far away, but we used to, we were in the army together. She's like, so someone gave me maybe some Amazon gift cards, and all it was screen caps of all of the different like witchcrafty books that she'd order.
Mhm.
But I was like, I recognized 2 of them, and I've read one of them. And she was like asking me,
Look
like
at you.
did I make the right choices? And I was like, bitch, I don't know. I have like 2 books. So look at my collection going.
Yeah. So Cable, last time you were at Queen Mob, did she have any more of the fucking Baba Yaga
They had just run out.
candles?
They had just run out.
Someone made a perfect, gorgeous sculpture of Baba Yaga's hut with the chicken foot.
I saw it after I'd already been there.
She's probably going to order
buying
more again.
gifts.
She got more in last week.
Okay, I was going to try to buy one for everybody,
Mhm.
but they only had one, so I bought it by myself and didn't say anything.
All right, well, now I don't feel bad that I didn't get you one.
What I appreciated is when I was checking out, I was the person who rang me up was their partner,
Mhm.
and
Someone just won D&D.
that's not. Yeah.
Someone either critted in one direction or the other.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what that was.
Yeah.
But like most of my gear for scootering all has Starfleet emblems on it,
Mhm.
right? So just like happens everywhere I go, someone will inevitably bring up Star Trek and start talking randomly about Star Trek at me, and it will take me a minute to go, you're wearing a Starfleet emblem, dumbass. That's why they're talking to you about Star Trek. It's not they just picked up on it and went, you must like Star Trek. It's like,
You
right.
told them.
I have it right here. It's on my chest.
Yeah.
But yeah, we chatted about Star Trek and Strange New Worlds and all the other cool stuff that's coming out with Star Trek. So
Yeah.
that was fun.
It was a little not creepy, but last time I was in, I was because I end up talking to her usually a long time too before I ever buy anything and or just leave
Mm-hmm.
because I don't always get stuff. But last time I was in there, we were talking about something, and like months ago, I found out I think when she was in high school or right afterwards, she was seeing someone whose last name was Duran. I was like, oh, that's okay, because it's not a very uncommon name.
Sure.
But then it got weird because last time I was in, I was talking about I've gotten really into candle making, and people are like, she's like, that's how it starts. I said, no, it's just a hobby. I said, but Denise and I kind of joke about with her pottery, we combine it, we go to like shows that just pay for the table and to have fun. She's like, yeah, that's how it fucking starts. She's like, and then you end up owning a shop on the corner of Northeast Broadway.
What a tough life.
Well, it's a small business owner. She had to replace her door twice.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not gravy.
Be pretty sweet though to have a shop on Broadway.
Yeah, maybe. But I told her about like the last candles I made. I finally got into doing some dyeing work, or one of my last candles. I said it because my players I'm running Curse of Strahd, and I finally got to have the dinner, so I made like Ravenloft, like Castle Ravenloft themed candles.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, "You run a Ravenloft game?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's always been my favorite. Ever since like high school." She's like, "So that guy named Duran that I used to date in high school, he ran the Ravenloft game." I'm like, "Whoa!" And I'm not saying that like her and I are just now. That's not it. Like I've never met her until this store. It's just
Sure.
I'm sure you would have figured it out by now.
Yeah, I would have figured it out by now. Yeah, but it was so weird. She's like, he was also the Ravenloft GM. Apparently, there's a type.
Shocked.
Shocked. Yes.
Yeah, this is my shock
There's
face.
gambling in this establishment.
You're winning, sir.
Thank you. Well, should we take a quick break?
Then come back with our best of?
Yeah.
That sounds like a good plan to me.
All right. Actually, I think all of us actually have to
Go right ahead.
dance, Cable.
I'm not a monkey here for your
I
amusement.
wish I could pose this well enough, but just have like, and I will leave you with Lord Strahd.
There you go.
No, soft. God, getting my Dark Lords confused. Ow!
Well, listeners, none of this is going on the podcast, so if you have any weird questions for me live, go right ahead. They're officially out of the room. You want to ask me weird questions about them? Yeah. You'd think that was a lot more fun than it is, but the cable show it's a lot. I do hope that everyone had a good holiday season, regardless of which holiday that you celebrate or don't celebrate at all. Can we talk Lego? Yes, we can always talk Lego. What do you want to talk about? I'm Joan. Like, I am so excited about stuff that's coming out in the new year. What's this? So out of Denise and Aaron, which one of them is more likely to end up as a documentary on Netflix? Aaron? I said that really fast. Aaron. I think, yeah, that seems more likely. Not for anything negative, but definitely most likely. Denise is back.
Aaron is a really messy gift unwrapper. Paper everywhere over
He
there.
is. We've all been talking.
Oh, what did I miss?
I said
a heavily mixed bag.
that specifically.
Ooh, good question.
I read it and my immediate answer was Aaron.
But about what?
Don't know.
Because I feel like it depends
could
on
be-
what it's about.
It could be about his writing.
Mhm.
It could be about an unsolved case that he uncovers and solves.
Mhm.
It could be about ghosts. Oh God! Kevin had I also said that I hoped everyone had a good holiday season, regardless of what holiday they had. Kevin, that's awful.
Aaron Duran behind Geek in the City Radio. Aaron.
Oh no. Okay.
So dumb. I love it.
It is. That's very dumb. Hi.
Hello.
Everyone is back.
Got weird.
You think that's
I
what you should-
specifically requested that it's like, all right, they're both gone. Ask me all the weird questions you want to about Aaron and Denise.
Oh yeah.
Yep. We only got one.
What was it?
So out of the two of them, which one of them is more likely to end up as a documentary on Netflix? And I said your name really fast.
It's probably true.
Didn't even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even have to think about it.
I didn't.
Say.
It flowed right out.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean it would be a bad documentary.
No, but a documentary.
That's fair.
And that's why I was like, I think it depends on what the documentary is about. That like would determine which one of us it would be,
And
right?
you'd probably be in it.
Yeah.
As like my accomplice, whatever it was.
Why am I the sidekick?
I don't know.
We're all the sidekick to someone else's story.
Yeah, that's true.
We're also the main character of our own story. It's when you're a sidekick in your own story. That's when you need to step back and take a
when
hard look.
And
That's when you're Jack Burton.
Awkward. I don't really think of myself as a lead character in much of anything.
But you're a lead character in your own life.
I guess. Just don't really think of it that way.
Sure.
I mean,
Anyway, let's talk about something else.
all right. Well,
And we're back.
that's right. That's it. Let me bring up my list. So, yeah, I did a little bit of what I thought were my favorite things of 2022. I did like my 10 best, and I think I did 3 honorable mentions, which is totally cheating.
You did. Do your honorable mentions.
Yeah, I do want to add a caveat to this. If something that you loved is not on this list, the odds are isn't because I didn't think it was good. The odds are greater is that either I didn't watch it or I do not, or because A, I didn't have time, or B, there's only so many services I could subscribe to. Case in point, I have not seen a single frame of Interview with the Vampire, no matter how well everyone tells me it is. I just can't get around to getting AMC Plus.
I haven't watched a single episode of Andor.
Yep.
I know it's fantastic. I believe it 100%.
I was mainly saying that so when Norm's like, how come Interview with the Vampire's on your list? I haven't watched it yet.
Sure.
These are our lists, not general public lists. This is
General public.
Moreover, our memory is bad. We had a whole 20-minute conversation about that when we started.
Yep.
Yes.
So like I know
How did you remember that?
I did have to Google movies that came out.
context.
I did have to Google movies that came out in 2022, shows that came out in 2022.
And
to remind myself.
And I went through the Asana watch list that at one point I was very, diligent about maintaining,
Right.
as well as my Goodreads, my Kindle, and my library histories to be reminded of all of the things that I've done. Which is what made me ask that question earlier, and that's
Right.
why I remember it's all connected.
But, and I did just totally forget one. I'm going to say it right now. This would be on my top 10. I don't know which one it would bump. I totally spaced on Our Flag Means Death.
Oh, it's absolutely on mine.
I totally.
All right, well, let's get started. So you ranked yours, is what it sounds like?
Kind of. It's a loose-ish. So my honorable mentions is Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities.
Haven't seen it.
Haven't seen all of it. I don't know if it'll get better or less, but I like what I've liked it.
I think where we've just left off at Pickman's Model.
Okay, yeah,
So.
They're great, and they're great filmmakers. Yeah, it's.
I think where Merrick and I landed is like, this is great. We're only watching one at a time because we watched 2 one night and went, nope, that was too much.
Yeah,
it was body horror followed by body horror. And
Yeah.
we're like, oh no, that was a lot.
just like I haven't started Wednesday yet. I feel like I'm gonna like it. I just
Haven't
haven't gotten
seen
around to it.
And I've seen the whole thing. It is on my honorable mentions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my next honorable mention is Star Trek Prodigy, which you guys know when that show first started, I was not a fan of it.
Mhm.
Right around episode 7, I was like, okay, now I'm digging. I didn't mind that I didn't like it at first because the show wasn't for me. But I think the show found its legs around episode 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was nonstop. I don't know if you guys have seen the finale.
It went from crawling to walking to running really fast.
Yeah, I mean, especially that first part, I was like, this is some best of both worlds. Like, I thought that was the season finale. And I was like, you sons, you can't do this to kids. Like,
No.
as an adult, I understand how it works. Now, wait, but don't you dare do this to like 8-year-olds, and this is their first Trek.
I knew that part 1 was not like, I knew that they had one more episode this season.
Mm-hmm.
Norm says it legit made me cry. It made me cry too. Like
The
that
finale?
that finale made me
Yeah.
cry. I'm like, oh, okay, great.
Right.
This is fantastic.
And I forgot about the show, and I haven't seen the back half.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it clips along fast. Yeah.
You are in for a fucking treat.
Yeah.
It is great. Also, this was I don't think it's a big secret now, but Picard third season will be the last season. I think they're already, the plan is they're going to do another show that's going to slot in that spot, so they'll have another Star Trek. It'll be Star Trek Janeway.
I think it'll be Janeway.
They've already started talking to Kate Mulgrew.
Yeah.
Awesome for her. That's exciting.
Yes.
May she
I don't know.
get-
I feel like that sounded sarcastic, and it's not.
No. And make her character get the writing she's always deserved.
Yes.
I mean,
I think she's going to.
I think so too.
they did it for 7 of 9.
Oh, yeah.
So
Which I think the exciting thing for me is if they do live action, if Janeway is the next one on the docket, that means somewhere in Janeway we will get to meet Captain Harry Kim.
Maybe. Finally,
Aw.
that'd be cool. My next honorable mention is the show Reacher. It's so good. It's like, it's not the deepest writing. And like I said, it's like the ultimate male power fantasy. Like the dude, he's named Reacher in the show because he's so, and in the books because he's so tall, he can reach anything. That's why the author named him Reacher.
deep.
But like, they're fun.
It's Jack Reacher. Right?
It's Jack Reacher. Yeah. They're fun. And he's always the guy that like, he's the vet, and he goes from town to town fixing wrongs. It helps that actor is just, there's not a single wink and a nod when he plays that character. He plays him completely sincere, and if he didn't, the show wouldn't work.
Yeah, I don't know what that actor. I don't remember what that actor's name is, but he played Hawk on Titans.
Yeah, he's huge.
He is.
He's
He's
massive.
enormous.
The only thing I never buy in that show is any fucking thrift store he goes into, he can find clothes his size.
Yeah,
'Cause that just ain't
that's not
happening.
true.
Alan Richson.
Yep.
Why does he claim to be a thrifter?
He doesn't
The
have any
character.
money in the show. He's a drifter, basically.
Mm.
He only has a little bit of cash. So whenever he inevitably gets his shirts cut up or covered in blood and sweat, he has to go buy a new one, and he goes to thrift stores and shit, or like discount stores. Yeah, it's fun. All right, I'll just go down my list really quick, and then we'll just bounce around.
No, that's fine.
So my number 10 is Top Gun Maverick. I don't really like the first Top Gun that much, not to the way other people like it. Like I wrote here, Top Gun Maverick is super jingoistic. It's very much like rah military. The fucking movie opens with a special thanks and commercial to the Air Force.
Okay.
They put a lot, yeah. But say what you will about Tom Cruise, that guy has no problem putting his body at risk to entertain his audience. And this movie shows it. It's amazing to watch. And in a weird way, the back half is almost like an extended version of the trench run from A New Hope. Like if we saw them training the X-Wing pilots before doing the trench run,
Okay.
like that's the back half of Top Gun Maverick. It's like, okay, yeah. It's fun. It's big and loud. It's not dumb, but it's big and loud, and it is amazing, especially when you know that like there's hardly any CGI in that show, in that movie. Those are real pilots doing the shit in that movie. Half the time it's Tom Cruise or his co-stars. So yeah, that's kind of bonkers. And Being Might Roll Rise on my number 9 was Jackass Forever. But I think 100% because of the experience of myself, Greg, and Christian dressing up in suits and tails and top hats and treating it like a night of theater, of cultural experiences.
I still remember how excited you and Christian got when that preview came on when we all went to go see Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
And the audible gasp from both of you was like,
I'm Johnny Knoxville. This is Jackass. And then
yeah,
It's like real life Santa walked into the room.
yeah. In the dark, I could feel Denise and I look at each other like, yeah, but that's great.
Yeah. Oh, Norm just said Tom Cruise is now America's version of Jackie Chan. Yeah, that's not that far off. Just get the shot. In terms of he will wreck his body
He's
two
probably it's not a wrong comparison, probably on many levels.
Next up, I had Clerks 3. I loved Clerks 3. It hit me on an emotional level I was not expecting. This is kind of, I also think Kevin Smith coming full circle on his kind of like this universe. I know he's talking about doing Dawn of the Mallrats as a series, but this feels like this wraps up that part of his life. And it's kind of cool to see. And the performances are really good. It's just that movie's got a lot of heart. It's not going to pull any new Kevin Smith fans, but maybe fans that were like kind of thought they were done with him. This will get you back. I think it works really well. And then number 7, Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. I just loved it. It was that like nice warm blanket that I forgot that I needed of like boldly going kind of thing with a great cast, great writing, and it's cinematic in how it's shot.
I just finished my rewatch of it over the weekend, and I have got to say, no disrespect to Zachary Quinto, no disrespect to Leonard Nimoy. Ethan Peck is the biggest Spock they have ever had.
Like
There
physically?
is zero reason. Like, there's a
Deadass.
scene where he hugs Christine Chapel,
Mhm.
and I'm like, bro, you were the science officer on the flagship of the Federation. Why are your biceps that big? The fuck?
Ripped.
He is. Like, that uniform is always fighting to stay on. Always.
That's awesome.
I love that phrase.
Oh, why? I mean, it's great. I love it. But also,
It's getting warm on this side of the table, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Anson Mount's no slouch either.
Nah.
no,
And
he
as I
is not.
shared with you, he throws clay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was so unexpected.
He's been doing it over Christmas, like making more mugs and vases. And he's like, I'm trying these new ways out. And I'm like, oh. He's like a country boy, too.
Anson Mount isn't playing a character.
I kind of feel like he's not. Like, Pike is Anson Mount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
My number 6 is RRR. I really can't tell you what this damn movie's about.
I never got
Still
around
need
to that
see
one.
Yeah.
This is what I wrote. This is a bonker-ass Bollywood superhero, mythical, action, romance, political, musical film. That's 3 hours long. That
Sure.
does not feel like 3 hours long.
Okay.
There's tigers jumping out of cargo trucks that get punched in the midair by a dude flying. It's fucking great.
Yep.
And it's getting a 2-night screening at the Hollywood the next 2
Oh,
Mondays.
wow.
So I'm going to try to get tickets for
A
that.
3-hour movie on a Monday? God damn.
I'm so glad this concert's over at 10. I go home and get some sleep.
I know that's weird. I don't know, between like how late I work and then like how early I weirdly go to bed, I'm just like 3 hours. That doesn't leave time for anything else.
Except watching one of the most amazing films that I've seen.
I did want to see it. I had wanted
think
to
it's
see it and I
still on
forgot
Netflix.
about it.
Yeah.
Number 5 for me is Prey, the Predator movie.
Yep.
Which was just so good. I really wish it had gotten a wider theatrical release. I can get why maybe Fox was nervous, but I feel like the moment it came out, they're like, "Oh, we fucked up. This should have been theatrical."
I would
It's
have. I would
wonderful.
have gone to a theater for that.
Oh, 100%. Amber Mid Thunder is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Next up for me is Glass Onion. Kind of snuck in at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
fair.
It was great. It's annoying how good Janelle Monáe is at everything, apparently. It's one of those people that's just not fair.
Yeah, I love her.
How,
Yeah, I do
how
too.
had you not already figured that out?
Because I've never seen her act really before until this. And I'm like, oh, you're great.
You haven't
This-
seen her music videos?
Did you not see Hidden Figures?
No.
Did
Oh,
you
I
see
didn't
Hidden
that.
Figures?
I
I
didn't
missed it.
actually. It's another one that I.
Oh, shit. See, that's another one that went right by me.
Okay,
Mm-mm.
not put like
But I
all
did know
kidding
she
aside,
can act.
put that on your list.
Mm.
Bring it higher up on your list. If you also listeners, if you've never watched Hidden Figures, watch Hidden Figures. It's fucking so good.
I do want to see it.
It is so good.
My next one is not a movie, it's a game, which is God of War Ragnarok.
Mhm.
Yeah, that game's amazing. The story is incredibly compelling. Weirdly, it will hit even harder if you don't have the best relationship with your father. You will read into certain things on it. Or maybe if you have a really good relationship and you've had that moment where, like, as one gets older, like the relationship changes.
Uh-huh.
The combat's fantastic, but that's not what pulls me in for Ragnarok. Bram McCreary does the soundtrack. The vocal work is amazing. I know Amazon's going to try to make it into a series. It's going to be hard to pull off the emotional content. I feel like if HBO can pull off The Last of Us, then then like Amazon can pull off God of War.
Who are they going to get to play Kratos? Is that his name?
Kratos.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like people are going to lose their shit about it, but you just get the dude who's the voice of Kratos. He does all the mocap too.
Oh,
He's African American and Kratos is white, even though he's like Greek, which I guess is still white. But God of War has no problem playing with ethnicities. The games,
sure,
like half, like a chunk of the Asgardians are not white Nordic people. Like,
sure,
they're like, no, we're fucking gods. We'll do whatever we want. It's wonderful. And number 2 is Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't know what else I can say that we didn't spend like 2 hours over in the past.
yeah.
I will say it hits different when you see it with people and when you see it alone. I actually found it to be a different viewing experience. Much more emotional when I saw it alone. Maybe because I felt freer to just be there with the emotional ride.
I haven't yet watched it since I have it. I bought a copy and I have it at home. I just haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, and Kihu, I mean, I want to say everyone is great. And I think part of it is, when you begin to learn the real story behind Kehu Kwan, like his life, it has an even bigger impact then. And that dude better have a fucking cameo in the next Indiana Jones movie with the hat being passed off. Like, I'll watch more Indiana Jones if it's short round, whatever. And my number 1 is Andor, and not because it's Star Wars. I think you could make this even some generic sci-fi and I will still like it. I think it stood out for me because it is a Star Wars movie, because it's been a long time since the Star Wars universe felt lived in and real. Like, probably the original trilogy was the last time for me.
Sure.
Mandalorian gets close, but this feels lived in. It's also weirdly the first time the Empire really seemed evil to me. They're always the bad guys, but it's almost cartoonish. They blew up a planet. It's so big your brain can't fathom it. And in Andor, it's the banality of the encroachment of fascism and tyranny.
I think that we get a glimpse of that in Rebels.
Sure.
But in live action, you are correct. I would agree.
Yeah, it's very much like the frog doesn't know he's being cooked in the pot kind of thing.
I don't want to bring turfs into this conversation, but this is a Harry Potter reference. There, people had dissertations about why do people get so incensed with Dolores Umbridge, but not so much with what's his face, the main bad Voldemort, and it's because of the banality and the real worldness of how awful she is. I think you might have said something along those lines at one point too. She's so fucking detestable because it's real. You could experience that in real life. Maybe you have, or something close to it. It's the relatability of that sinister behavior that really I don't know, gets at you more than just oh, we have a laser that's going to destroy the whole planet. Is that evil? Sure, but you know it's fake. It's a story.
Yeah,
but this bureaucratic bullshit happens in real life.
Yeah, like when you watch Andor and there's citizens that are essentially on a funeral march that is looked at as a protest. And you've got fucking riot stormtroopers that are ready, and they're put them down.
That was the best episode.
Yeah, and the performances are fantastic. I think they're all turning in the performances of the lifetime. Diego Luna all of them. I'm still blown away that Disney is paying for. They paid for 3 seasons of this thing, because this is not a show that sells lunchboxes and action figures. There's probably going to be
I mean, I'm sure it can.
It's going to. They're gonna fucking make the robot. They're gonna make Cassian. They're they're gonna make characters out of them, but they're gonna be like the black figures that they just sell online. So like people like us, you're not gonna see these figures in fucking Target or Walmart because I don't know many little kids. They might watch Andor with their family because it's Star Wars, and I'm not saying it's adult because it's violent. It's not.
Some of that stuff
violent.
might be a little over some kids' heads.
Yeah, or you know, frankly, it would. If I was 9 years old, Andor would bore me to tears, except for maybe a couple of scenes. I'd be like, "What is going on?" You know. But I think it's great. I think it's one of the best written shows of the year, and maybe because it is a Star Wars, and that it doesn't fucking act like one, is what threw it to number one for me. I wrote it in here too. This is the movie that if George Lucas wanted to tell it, he gets a lot of shit for the prequels, but this is the dude that also did THX 1138. The Rebels were they were a callback to the Viet Cong pushing back imperialism, whether people liked it or not.
Yeah.
So this is the show that he would make now about the banality of fascism becoming accepted.
So,
and then the cost of rebellion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. When I was younger, I definitely threw shit at the
Everyone
prequels.
Did. Yeah.
But looking back at them now, it's like the prequels are the development of fascism within a democratic society. Like, he keeps pointing to the things that cause evil throughout, and it's not the Jedi and it's not the Sith.
Right.
It's always bureaucratic bullshit and fabricated differences between one side and another, and then war profiteering.
Yeah.
Like, that's what all three of the prequels are about. You just sit there and watch it and you're like, oh yeah, it's why I 100% defend the casino scene in The Last Jedi, where everyone's like, yeah, why did we need that? It was just goofy and they ran through a casino. It's like war profiteering.
Yeah.
They were pointing to the fact that, yes, there's the good side and the bad side. And then there are these fuckers who are rich from selling it to both sides.
Ill-gotten gains.
Yeah,
side.
it's like, this is the real problem. This right here.
Right.
Yeah, that's the George Lucas that now I definitely have a better grasp of what he was doing.
Yeah, totally.
So, and yeah, that is the guy that made THX 1138.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yep.
That's it for me. I rambled on a lot with my top 10.
What you got?
Let me pull up my notes here. I don't think I have as much to say about mine, so this will be quick. So first,
Hold on. I'm sorry. I thought I hit the mute button, and I think I hit the sound effect button. Sorry.
So my first top 10 is actually a podcast, but it's nothing like our show. The show is called Ologies, and it is one woman's goal to interview and ask questions of anyone who could be considered a, like fill in the blank ologist.
Okay.
They study things, so they are the expert in whatever particular field that they're working in. And so like sometimes you have to like kind of stretch for the concept. Like she interviewed a guy who was a specialist of trains, and so that was the Pharaoh Equinology episode. Pharaoh, equine, iron horse, because that's what they used to call trains, right? So like she also can get really creative with like how to define this as a ology. And she herself is like just a really like funny, charming host, such that even when the guest is like really kind of dull and not that interesting, I mean, some scientists are not that exciting to talk to.
Sure.
Not everyone is a great science communicator, but even when you're like, I am not going to give a shit about this topic is how I open an episode. By the end, I'm like, man, that was fascinating. Cause she just like really has a lot of insightful and interesting questions. Like she brings in a lot of Patreon, contacts, like supporters who can ask questions. So you can also get a lot of questions that come from a lot of different perspectives too.
Right.
I could not go on enough about this show. I fucking love it so much. Next, for books, I have two book things that made my top 10. The first one is an N.K. Jemisin series called the Broken Earth Trilogy.
Mhm.
I did read 2 of her series in the past year, so that's 6 books. But this one, I don't know, I just like appreciated it a little bit more. And so those books are The Fifth Season, The Obelisk Gate, and The Stone Sky. And this is true of both of those series that I read, but she just has beautiful storytelling, like really deep and thorough world building. But also, there's not a ton of exposition to explain to you the world that you've been dropped into. It's a much more gradual process of kind of assuming you know where you are, and
Right,
you and
right.
as the reader who you don't really know where you are, you just learn more and more along the way, and that's sort of like unraveling of the world and the story at the same time. And I think that she just brings a really unique perspective to the fantasy genre.
I like her work a
I
lot.
love her work. I gave the first book in this series as a gift to someone for Christmas because I'm like, you're gonna fucking love this. The other one is The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey, and it's like a really tragic but beautiful story. I guess I'll go ahead and give it away. I don't think it's a secret necessarily, but
They
it,
made a movie out of it too, right?
I believe so. A couple years ago,
Yeah,
I
I
meant
saw
to
the movie.
find it. It's essentially a zombie story,
Yeah,
but
they did.
it's from a different perspective than you're used to, and it's again like it gives it a new it's a new take on a popular genre. And I really enjoyed that one. There is a second book in the series, maybe a third one in the works, but I don't remember at this point. I also have Everything Everywhere All the Time, all at once, as one of my top 10 for movies because duh. But also Don't Look Up, which
Oh, yeah.
is it's a big cast about the meteor that's going to come to Earth, and there's nothing we can do about it if we don't act now. Guess what? We couldn't get our shit together to fix it now. So now we are in fact doomed. The planet and everyone on it is going to die when this meteor hits because we fucked off too much.
Mhm.
And so it's like it's really realistic in that way of like, oh, we were just too busy being stupid asses as a society to actually do the right thing
Right.
in time to fix the problem. But it still manages to be really funny and like very powerful storytelling.
Yeah.
Especially the ending. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry right now.
Quick side note, if you get a chance. So they should did it last year, but last year N.K. Jemisin wrote a Green Lantern miniseries called Far Sector
Oh shit.
that I think you would really like.
Oh yeah.
It was about the Green Lantern that had a sector that hadn't had a murder in a millennia,
Yeah.
and then there's finally a murder and what it does to the entire society.
Oh, fascinating.
And it's a cool Green Lantern design. I think you would dig it. Yeah, it came out last year, 2021.
Cool.
Yeah, last year's 2022 now.
Yes.
And then television, which is where I have the bulk of my top 10. Surprise. Our Flag Means Death. Duh. I wanted to say a lot about that.
So
Another
good.
one that I feel like most people have never seen it because I'd never even heard of it, and it had 5 seasons, was an FX show that you can watch on Hulu. It's called You're the Worst. And I think by now, like we all know how much I love rom-coms, specifically when they are about really dysfunctional individuals who are bad at love. And this is that, but just like cooked to perfection. It's they're ostensibly terrible people, but they legitimately love each other, and then you see them trying to figure out how to be less terrible for the sake of this relationship. But only with each other. Generally speaking, they're still kind of awful people to everyone in their bubble of their circle.
Right.
Thank you. And I just loved it so much. They touch on like depression and infidelity, all kinds of dysfunctional people stuff. And the final episode is one of those ones where they kind of like, this is the end of the series, but I'm sure you want to know what happens in the long run. So here is a devastating montage, and it struck me so hard that I want. Not only do I want to watch the whole series again, which is super rare for me to do. I want to watch just that last episode again and again
Wow.
Yeah. So highly recommend that to anyone who, hates rom-coms unless it's about terrible people, like me. Severance from Apple Plus.
Which is one I haven't gotten to yet.
Yep,
And
same.
I know that we have like connection, like third, fourth degree connections to people involved in the show. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's just like a really fascinating new idea in terms of storytelling. The performances are great. The characters are wonderfully written too, and it's got a lot of really excellent twists that even I didn't expect. And
Nice.
I'm constantly waiting for like, okay, this is what's going to happen, isn't it? And then being like, yep, called it. The Sandman, duh. The visuals are incredible. I think it's a solid adaptation on the original story with some good little updates that make
Yeah.
it a little bit more relatable to more people.
Still need to finish that.
Me too.
Yes.
Yep.
And then last on television is The Righteous Gemstones, which is another one that's not new to this year or to 2022, but it was new to me. It's hilarious. The cast is fantastic. There's
Yeah,
just like a
it's great.
ton of funny people, and I love anything that involves like the dark side of John Goodman. I think he's incredible
Oh, okay.
as like a villain.
Mhm.
Not that he's a villain in this, but you do get to see him be a less than like perfect family happy dude, which I think he did a lot for a long time, and he has so much more range than that. And I think he gives better performances when he's not being that like happy family guy.
His role as Mr. Connor is career defining, and even
Mhm.
though that character wasn't perfect, especially if you grew up in a certain economic group, like that's kind of the dad you wanted.
Dan Connor.
Dan Connor.
Mm.
Yep.
Also, the whole TV series, the whole show is just like taking a big old shit on televangelists.
Mm-hmm.
So here for that.
Okay.
And then my honorable mentions include Search Party. Again, not new, but new to me. It's just a fun, kind of wacky show. It goes off the rails almost immediately and then continues further and further away from the rails. Artemis by Andy Weir, writer of The Martian.
Mm.
Just an excellent little short story, sort of a heist motif. And if you like audiobooks, it is done by Rosario Dawson.
Oh,
So
nice.
that kicks it up another notch. Wednesday was like charming and fun. Total Fashion Goals. And then Station 11, which I might have talked about last year because it's the series itself came out in like mid to late December.
I think I finally did watch that one
I loved it.
early last year.
And yeah, I still think both the show and the book are great. The end.
Cool. Nice.
I'm gonna go start with my honorable mention,
Okay.
which is not a new album in 2022, but it was new to me, and I discovered it because of James Gunn and his attention to soundtracks.
Yeah.
Because there was a song by the Decemberists that I hadn't heard called "The Sucker's Prayer" from the album "I'll Be Your Girl." And I listened to that so much in the past year that it ended up as part of my Spotify Wrapped for 2022.
Oh, wow. Nice.
What's funny is I was on a day that I was actually listening to it upstairs. I came downstairs and Chris Funk was standing at the magic counter. And I'm like, that's funny. I'm listening to you right now. He's like, oh, it's like, yeah, I was listening to I'm Your Girl. And he went, oh, I'm sorry. Like,
What's funny is that actually sounded like a Decemberist album title. Chris Funk was standing at the magic counter.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Spoilers to anyone who listens to the Decemberists. Chris Funk shops here. Has for years. Anyway, I think number 10 for me is podcasts. And I've discovered a lot of new podcasts this year. Especially in going back to the gym. I would spend a lot of time listening to podcasts, and they include the Chainsaw Matinee, which used to be known as Netflix and Chill, until they all went, you know what? We're tired of Netflix's stance on
A lot of shit.
letting transphobes have specials, so fuck them. They are a bunch of film school kids, or they were film school kids. I think they've all graduated now. Hannah, Marty, and Kai, and really like their takes on things. They're young, and so they watch a lot of stuff that's old, and they have different viewpoints than the people that would have watched it when it came out.
Right.
And it's nice to hear what new people and new eyes are, how they're viewing horror. There is also the horror podcast. I've talked about it a bit before with my friend James Strayer and John C. Myers. This May Hurt a Bit.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's also been the Pod Directive, which was the official Star Trek podcast for StarTrek.com with Tawny Newsome and Paul F. Tompkins. I also dove into Real Play D&D podcast or role play podcast by mainlining throughout February through May of 2022. I listened to the entirety at the time of the Adventure Zone, which was that's a lot.
That's a choice.
That's like a 3-hour podcast, isn't it? No,
No.
I'm busy with Critical Hit.
Yeah,
Critical
critical. I haven't bothered to jump into Critical Role. It's not that I like. I'm not going to shit on Critical Role because it's done some amazing things for gaming and RPGs. I'll eventually get around to it, but that so far that's not what's been interesting me.
Sure.
The Adventure Zone is oh, god damn, what is the name of this? It's three brothers and their dad.
Right.
And the dad's never played D&D. I think the brothers have. So it's the youngest brother, McElroy, the McElroy family.
That was it.
Yeah.
So the youngest McElroy DMs, and then the other two, the two brothers play. So does the dad. The Bureau of Balance was their first and longest arc and most beloved. It gave us the catchphrase Magnus rushes in, as well as Abraca fuck you, which is one of my favorite spell casts ever. And then, of course, I went from there to Dimension 20.
That's been I should have mentioned that too.
Yeah, I've only listened to the first adventure of theirs where they were at the school.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I hear a lot of people talk about Matt Mercer, but Jesus, Brennan Lee Mulligan is fucking genius.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that man. It's not that he's a good storyteller. He's a compassionate storyteller.
Yeah.
He is. You can listen to him talk. It's like, much like you're a fountain of information. Some of it is useful. Some of it is useless trivia, and you know it. And yet, when you get behind a DM screen and start telling people stories and engaging them in the stories, something will come up where that tiny bit of knowledge you can turn into a string of dialogue that changes people's lives. I'm amazed at his stuff. Like, that's what you do. That's what storytellers do. It's fantastic.
How far are you on Dimension 20 stuff? Like, have you got Escape from Bloodkeep?
I've had a harder time getting into that.
Oh, really? That was magical.
So, but I will get into that, and it's going to be great. It was the same with the first season, with the kids. Mm-hmm. Like, I had a hard time. I had to listen to like the first 3, like, twice to really grok what was going on.
Yeah.
And then
when you get to A Court of Fey and Flowers, he's not the DM in that; he's a player.
Right.
That's a beautiful story that they do. Yeah, you're gonna love that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Number 9 is Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
I still need to see that.
Absolutely everything that I wanted it to be and more. That, like, it was. I was excited about it as soon as Weird Al was started to like post about it. It's like, hey, we're gonna make a movie with Roku. It's gonna be great. Here's behind the scenes footage that I can show you, which is just him taking shots of props that don't matter. Like he just everything about that movie was perfect. I loved it so much. Comic wise, this is still not new, but number 8 is a book I am still thoroughly enjoying and enjoying all of its offshoots, and that is Something is Killing the Children.
Oh yeah.
Ah, yes.
I keep waiting for that book to run out of steam, and it has not yet, which is really tough.
Yeah.
That's probably going to come out as James Tinney and the Fourth's, like, the work he's most known for.
Yeah.
Like, and he's done a lot of work, but man, Something is Killing the Children is fantastic. Number 7 is a more personal experience, and that was our participation in Witch Hunt's Death Race.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
That was fantastic. I loved doing that. The only sour note was, Aaron, you not being able to participate with us. You were there with us in spirit.
Yes, I was trying not to die.
Yes,
so.
and I'm glad that you did not die. That's also definitely on
I
the
should have
list.
put that on my top 10 list.
Yeah.
Didn't die.
Didn't die. But yeah, that was an experience that I haven't had in town with theater, and it is why I'm such a fanboy for Witch Hunt. So I did not submit an audition tape for their recent casting call. I may regret that later, but for now I'm like, I don't feel like I can jump in the way they want me to jump in, so I'm just going to keep supporting them as a theater goer for a while.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Number 6 and number 5 are very related. Number 6 is the annual Bricks Cascade convention, which is the Lego convention that we have here in Portland. I got to go with, I met up with people there that were also big fans of Lego, so I got to go through twice in the same. Like I was there the whole weekend.
Nice.
Which is not a thing that I've been able to do since working at Guardian, because I used to work all weekends, and now I can, I have the weekend off. I'm going to go check out the Lego Con. This year I'm going to have to ask for Sunday off, but that's fine.
Right.
And then 5 is Lego in general. Like, this has been a banner year for what they have put out. Like their Lego Con that I watched this year, and revisiting classic series. Like, within the past 2 years, they've revisited Pirates, they've revisited Castle, they've revisited Classic Space. They're doing more. I don't know if you've seen this, but the gift with purchase of $190 purchase or more at lego.com is a revamped Blacktron cruiser.
Saw that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And Blacktron is, I love Blacktron so much. They were the creepy evil aliens to the rest of Classic Space. Like Classic Space, they're just around and they're in primary colors and they all have happy faces. Blacktron had black visors. You could not see their faces.
They were cool.
They have, like, their logo is the inverted Triforce symbol. It's all black with some yellow and trans red in their stuff. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I love this stuff.
It's awesome.
And just everything they've come out with. Like, I'm still looking forward to picking up the Daily Bugle. I've bought myself some post-Christmas Legos, which were I picked up some Lego sets from the Eternals. So
cool.
That's great.
I got 2 hidden side sets for
Good
Christmas.
for you.
Oh,
I'm
we knew
super
it too.
excited.
Good for you.
I found out.
Number 4 is another local thing. That's the Portland Horror Film Fest.
Yeah.
I had an incredible amount of fun at that this year. It's not a festival I've been to before. Having that something that I got to experience with the two of you was also fantastic. It felt like pre-pandemic days, and yet even more so, like there was something supremely special about our experience. I know that that's set the bar really high for this upcoming year's festivals that we plan on
Right.
going to. Number 3 is Everything Everywhere All at Once. Number 2 is the golden age of Star Trek that we seem to be in right now.
Right.
It's not just Strange New Worlds. It's Lower Decks. It's Prodigy. It's Discovery. It's Picard.
It's probably what I should have done. I'm just like, look, all the Trek right now.
I didn't put any Star Trek on mine because I knew at least one of you would put that on yours.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I'd like to get a good breadth of stuff going on here. Same thing with like Glass Onion and Andor.
I look for, like, we ought to, like, next week we ought to talk about the Glass Onion just in and of itself.
That'd be
Like,
fun. Sure.
that's a show.
I'll
Like,
watch it again real quick.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to unpack on that.
Yes.
And also, really quick on Lego, have you seen the fully built giant Hulk Buster?
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
That and the Bowser are massive.
Oh, the Bowser's even bigger.
Yeah.
It's enormous. And then
yeah.
Oh my god.
yeah.
Oh, you look up Bowser?
No, it's bigger than you think it is.
Is she looking
It
up
is.
Bowser?
Yeah, she is.
He's like this tall.
And
And he actually comes with Lego fireballs that he can go, that he can shoot out of his mouth.
And then my number 1, and this is going to be sappy, and I'm sorry.
sappier than the fact that you put experiences on your top 10.
Yeah.
No, I'm just- I'm-
our top list of best things of 2022. These are the best things.
I'm kidding. I'm disappointed that it didn't occur to me to include experiences. 'Cause we did a lot of really good stuff this year, you guys.
We did. But truly one of the most joyous things that has brought me enjoyment monthly has been playing a regular role-playing game with the two of you and with our friends Justin and Alex, and that's been the Usagi Yojimbo role-playing game, and really kind of embracing my own storytelling skills and working with all of you on a collaborative storytelling role-playing game. It has made me it's benefited me in so many ways, not just like on both personally and professionally. Like, I am now feel very well versed in Powered by the Apocalypse, the game system.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps me talk to people here at the store. I had been predicting for weeks that 2023 is going to be the year of the Powered by the Apocalypse system.
Ooh.
Here's why. Avatar: The Last Airbender, the RPG, comes out this year.
Right.
And it runs.
It runs on Powered by the Apocalypse. So this is going to be so many people's introduction to this system. If you don't know anything about Powered by the Apocalypse, the system, please look it up. It is an incredibly collaborative storytelling RPG engine that focuses on your players and their characters, and the setting and the world that you decide to build together. I have been reading the Apocalypse World core rule book. I've been reading the Monster of the Week core rule book. Both of those are Powered by the Apocalypse. Apocalypse World is where the system came from.
Right.
And what fascinates me is, for a book that is mired in, it's the apocalypse and everything is awful and all these things are, the same notes that I find in that are the same notes that I find in Usagi as in Monster of the Week. And that is, to the person running the game, it says up front very clearly, be your player's biggest fan. And that is, oh man, that advice and that guidance is so important to role playing.
And I actually, and this, as much as I love the Star Trek RPG,
Mm-hmm.
I find Modiphius's D20 system, dual D20 or whatever, rather cumbersome. And I find myself thinking if this was powered by the apocalypse, because Star Trek by default is a very collaborative experience between players and machines and ethics, I think the game would work better. And I feel bad because I know people who listen to this who work on that game, but I just think it would work. I think it would be much easier for non-gamers to pick up.
And that's why I push Powered by the Apocalypse as a game system a lot to people, because it's like, look, if you're new to RPGs and everyone at your table is new, I get the appeal and I get why everyone wants to jump into D&D or Pathfinder.
Sure.
Those are like Dungeons and Dragons is the 800-pound gorilla in the room of RPGs.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There isn't. But just like Warhammer, the only way you can distinguish yourself from that is you are either exactly like D&D or you are wildly different. And in the world of minis, I don't know how well that works. Because most people who get into minis still want it to be like Warhammer.
Yeah.
They want to be able to throw dice. They want to play 4 rounds that last 3 hours to 4 hours. And then you're done. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But in RPGs, when you go, well, we don't want to be a D20 system, there is so much more you can do. And the indie RPG market, there's a lot. If you cannot find an RPG that fits you and your group and your play style, I don't think it's been invented yet.
Yeah, there's ones that literally use the same aspects of poker. It's the Fate system, which is just plus and minuses.
Yep.
The Savage World system, or Savage Worlds.
Mothership has been...
Mothership, Morgborg. There's even one called Dread that uses fucking Jenga.
Yep. And it's now not the only one.
Yeah. There's 10 Candles, which literally uses 10 candles.
Yep. There was one that I picked up for you last year, Fortune, that uses a tarot deck. And now it's not the only one. There's a new one called Wild.
2 role-playing games you have, and you've yet to run one.
I know.
She's gonna get there. Don't rush her. We're working on it.
We just got to get her into her cup so she can run her sexy daddy anime one.
What is that called? Hot Dads?
I think it's called Hot Dads or something.
Dads. Yeah. But yeah, like I guess that my real number one is playing role-playing games with my friends.
Oh,
and that is
make me cry, jerk.
I sound like a new convert, but it's like I haven't done that since I was a kid. Literally, I have not played RPGs like this since I was a child.
I've gotten way more into like breaking down RPGs too, like the format, how to write for them, the ideas behind it. I'm trying to explore that more. I mean, my number one was going to be Season of the Bruja came out, but that felt that felt a little too selfish on my part. But that would be my number one.
Fair.
By the way, the trade comes out in 27 days.
Woo.
I think next week I can make an announcement about a release party. Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's it.
Nice.
Some good stuff.
Yeah, we should wrap up. We went a little long.
Sorry about that.
We didn't have a show last week, so it's fine.
This is true.
Split it in half, friends.
Next week, I guess we're going to talk about Glass Onion.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah. We're trying to get some more interviews lined up, really get things going.
Yep.
But with all that being said, I am still Aaron Duran.
I'm still being Rita.
And I am still a Cable Hashita.
And we will speak to everyone next week. Bye, everyone.